2016's IMSA Sports Car Championship. What a fantastic year we've had so far. Broken in the middle by the trip to Le Mans, and the IMSA teams and drivers did themselves proud. We're up in New York State for this round, just a short hop from our last round at Detroit, Michigan, 3 weeks ago, for an absolute sports car classic. The 6 hours of the Glen, the Sahlen's 6 hours of the Glen on this truly historic 3.4-mile circuit. The turn, the heel of the boots, the chute, the outer loop, the back straight, the inner loop, turn one. Just great places to watch and listen to motor racing. Action areas at the first corner, at the heel of the boot, and in the bus stop, the inner loop, as it's called here. A fantastic day, a great day to go motor racing in front of a huge holiday weekend crowd here in upstate New York. Qualifying for all classes is next, and it's live here on IMSA Radio.
The WeatherTech Sports Car Championship on IMSA Radio.
Well, the sunshine has come out to greet the field of the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship here at Watkins Glen. In the broadcast booth alongside me is Jeremy Shaw. We'll talk to him in a moment, but let's head straight down into the pit lane and say good afternoon. And it is a very lovely afternoon at 20 minutes before 4 o'clock here, local time, to our Continental pit lane reporters, Shea Adam and Jim Roller. Shea.
Last year, Jim and John, it was a Viper that won the race, and the last race we had was a Viper ending in victory lane. But Bill Riley, you said you're doing your rain dance. You're hoping that they qualify this thing on points. You think the Snakes got anything up its sleeve?
I don't know about for qualifying or not. I mean, we're going to run the hardest we can, but we're hoping for rain, so we go by points right now, yeah.
Are you showing any of that on the radar, or is it just really wishful thinking?
No, it's not going to rain. We're just going to do the best we can.
You put Ben in the car for qualifying. It is a 6-hour race, so you could have put your own in, but I heard that Ben was feeling a bit sick yesterday. Is that why that you put him in?
No, it's just our normal strategy for this race. You know, we have some things up our sleeve for the race, so I think we'll be okay.
You can never count you guys out.
Yeah, we'll be okay in the race for sure.
Thanks, Bill.
So Bill Riley down there talking about the opportunities in GT Daytona. Could well be adding another manufacturer into GT Daytona, and possibly even before the end of the year. Marshall Pruitt on Racer.com reporting continued interest from Honda Performance Development out here in the US. The California-based competition arm for Acura and Honda looking to enter an NSX GT3. The Italian motorsports team JAS, who have run Hondas in World Touring cars for very, very many years, have produced an NSX GT3, and at the moment HPD are working with a car that they have had from Italy, and talking to several teams here this weekend about potentially getting a car in 2017. It's a twin turbo V6 GT3, of course, and the hopefully as soon as next year for a full season, but also with the opportunity perhaps to run a couple of races before even the end of this year. No surprises that Michael Shank Racing has been mentioned alongside that. The Acura prototype perhaps not being able to be used by them next year here, and they could be focusing all of their attentions on the GTD category, which is what is heading out at the moment. I would say welcomed with open arms. Another manufacturer, particularly one of the size of Honda, and the expertise of HPD would be a great addition, Jeremy Shaw, to the GT Daytona category.
Indeed, particularly with the legacy over here, where they're known for winning.
Yes.
Whatever they set their sights on, they win. And 2 wins last weekend, of course, in the World Challenge Series as well at Road America. So, sooner or later, Honda gets to victory lane, and you know that car. I mean, we've seen some pictures of it. It looks absolutely stunning. I think it would be a tremendous addition to these fields.
Yeah, and if you want to know more from that, go to www.racer.com. Marshall Pruitt across that story, breaking that a little earlier on. And if you weren't with us for our coverage of the final free practice session for this IMSA Championship, the news that Ford have decided to extend their 2-year GT program another couple of years, so that will make it a 4-year program. Drivers forming an orderly line even as we speak to try and get themselves in contention, I would have thought, for a drive in 2018 when everyone's contracts run out. And the win at Le Mans, I'm sure, has caused a great deal of interest at Detroit Ford's worldwide headquarters and must have made them think about continuing that program, which should have ended, of course, at the end of 2017. But if you want a legacy, particularly at a race like Le Mans, you don't go and win it and leave. BMW did that, and everybody forgets they were there. And Porsche have been there for many years. Audi have built their legacy, and Toyota similarly. And in fact, it's not even about winning at Le Mans, it's about building a legacy. It's about being there and understanding the intricacies of the endurance racing scene. And great news that Ford have ceded to whatever pressures have been put on them and decided to continue that program for another couple of years. Will give them the opportunity to build a road car as well around the GT, which I'm sure they'll be very happy about, and exploit the successes that way. Well, very early runners going out tentatively onto the circuit, which suggests to me, Jeremy, that we're not going to see an awful lot of running here. People bringing in their Continental tyres very carefully indeed on their outlap in the GT Daytona category.
Yeah, you can see there the Minnesota
really slow outlaps.
Yeah. It's still not sort of super warm out there. It's still pretty breezy as well. So it's going to take a little bit to build the heat into the tyres. Often, you come here this time of year, and the weather can do just about anything, can't it? It can be hot, it can be sticky, humid, it can be raining, as we saw last year. But these conditions here, it's certainly a really nice day here. It looks very, very picturesque, but it is quite cool. It will take a little bit of running around here to get the proper heat in the tyres before it can go for a fast lap.
Oh, they're using it all.
So the 11 already down to 11 and a half minutes. These short, sharp qualifying sessions, absolutely the right way to go. Other series take note. Tooling around for hours on end or trying to engineer something with snakes and ladders style of qualifying. Well, you know what I mean, don't you?
Absolutely.
I just
very well put.
I just came to me that. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Give guys a little bit of track time, not too much. Send them out there. We've seen him prototype.
See who goes fastest.
Let's see who goes fastest. I think that's what qualifying is about. Yeah. We've seen him prototype challenge as well with a variety of tyre supplies, including Continental. Give guys tyres that have got a reasonable amount of longevity in them, and as the fuel burns out, guess what? You get quicker towards the end of that 15 minutes, so you do have a shootout for pole. You don't have to manufacture it, it actually just happens, and that is consistently what we get here in these quick-fire 15-minute sessions.
And this is going to be fun. GTD cars out there now, and I don't know who's the favourite. The Audis have been quickest in the practice sessions so far, which we've had 3 over this morning and 2 one this morning, 2 yesterday. Lost Naschenbach turned the fastest lap in practice at 1:45.1. But Mario Farnbacher in number 23 Porsche, he was pretty close behind there, just a tenth of a second or so back. The BMWs have been pretty quick, and the Lamborghinis. I don't count out the Lamborghinis. We saw Brian Sellers put his car on pole. It was a bit of a shock actually last time out in Detroit. I don't think we've yet seen Lamborghinis really show what they can so far this weekend. We'll see whether we do today or this afternoon in qualifying.
Yeah,
I saw Brian Sellers actually briefly over lunchtime, and he looked very quietly confident. All 3 drivers stood there with Bryce Miller and Madison Snow, and they all were looking pretty content with life.
1:47.8 is the opening gambit from Robin Liddell. Not long since finished a race in the Continental Tyres Sports Car Challenge, but he's usurped by Mario Farnbacher in the 23 Porsche, always a contender. Christina Nielsen throws down a 47.8, so 46.7, 47.8, 47.8, the top three at the moment.
Yeah, and just bear in mind here, the on first flying lap is 2 seconds underneath the old track record. Okay, completely different specifications now with FIA GT3 this season as opposed to the old
Mix and match.
Yeah, exactly. The IMSA specs before. But nominally, at least, the track record here in qualifying was 48.8, set 2 years ago by Lee Keane.
I'll be surprised if we're not into the middle 47s.
No, we'll be way faster.
46?
Yeah, no, 45 or 45.1 we saw in practice.
That's right, we did, didn't we?
Yeah. We'll be in the 44s most likely.
Right, okay.
I mean, track conditions here, as far as speed are concerned, once you get, it's pretty good, I think. Once you get the heat into the tyres here, I think we should get some very fast laps.
It's a good weather forecast for tomorrow, Jeremy. You've got to start the race on 3 of the 4 tyres on which you qualify. So if people think it's going to be very, very warm tomorrow, they may have gone for a slightly harder compound, and maybe that's why we've seen slightly more circumspect opening laps to get the tyres up to temperature. Ashton back to the top in the 9. 46.3.
10th and a half quicker than his teammate Robin Liddell. Mario Farnbacher currently showing 3rd in the
He's about to go to the top.
Joe racing car. Yep.
And doesn't actually 46.5. And Liddell 46.5, 46.9 for Nielsen in the 63.
Alison Snow is qualifying the Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini car number 48.
And is in 5th position at the moment. So it's Audi, Porsche, Audi, Ferrari, BMW, Lambo, Audi, BMW and Porsche for the top 10.
Robin Liddell improved to 46.4.
And that's good enough for 2nd. Stevenson have looked pretty good this weekend.
Yes,
they just came off the truck looking good.
Yes.
And that's often a really good indication, isn't it? I know it looks like there's a lot of time out there on track, but by the time you've had a couple of yellows or red flags, and we have half a session where it was a bit damp, you're not really learning anything.
Yeah, quickest in each of the sessions has been Stevenson Motorsports. Lawson Aschenbach quickest in 2 of them, Robin Liddell in 1. So yeah, certainly they would be the favourites coming into this afternoon.
Were they one of the teams that came and tested here, Jeremy? I think they were.
So.
Yeah, and that's paid off.
Yeah, 45.9 there for Lawson Aschenbach, car number 9.
That's good.
Robin Liddell has gone a 10th quicker than that in the 1st sector.
Mario Farnbacher upholding Porsche's honour. Christina Nielsen in the 63, the red and white Ferrari. And is there a bit more white on that car this weekend? It does look very good indeed. Slightly deeper shade of red than the Formula 1 Ferraris use. Well, they've gone a bit further away from the old cigarette sponsorship days.
46.0 for Mario Farnbacher, car number 23.
Robin Liddell moving slowly in the red version of the Stevenson car. It's the number 6 car. Now he picks up the pace coming out the final call and nails the exit, almost millimetre perfect there. 540 has Tim Pappas behind the wheel, that being the chrome green, and I'm going to call that shapeshifter grey at the back. It's sort of a liquid mercury colour. If you made the whole car that colour, I'm not sure you'd actually even be able to see it. It would just reflect its surroundings so much. It would disappear. Aschenbach comes to the end of his 5th lap and stays out. So he likes the look of the Delta on the dashboard of the Audi R8 LMS. Comes to the line now. 45.9 he's got, and 48.5. So he's just building up then to another lap. The big green number 1 on the side of the car, showing his position through the S's. It's a very stable platform, that R8 LMS this weekend. Farnbacher in second place with the shaded blue Porsche. The Arctic Convoys camouflage, I called that a couple of weeks ago, which seems to have caught on. Across the line, 49.1, so he's had a cool down lap and then having another go at it. Christina Nielsen, the same. Christina has gone through in a 46.5. So she's improved her time, but not the position of the 63 car, but closed in a little bit on Madison Snow.
Matt McMurray at the wheel of the Park Place Porsche, car number 73, 46.7 for Matt McMurray.
Driving two cars this weekend, and two very different cars.
Liddell's on a quick lap. Here comes now, across the line.
And goes to the top, 45.4.
Fastest sector times of all in sectors 2 and 3 on that lap, so he really put the hammer down there to Robin Liddell.
Oh, big sideways moment for the 33 of Ben Keating going through turn 1. That's completely Horlick's that lap. Here's Aschenbach in the blue. I think he might have slightly upset the balance of that car by being off the track. He's weaving left and right, trying to clean up the Continental tyres. Starts another lap now. His best of 45.9. That was a 46.0. That's not bad for making a mistake, yeah.
Mario Farnbacher on a good lap as well. Personal best in sector 1, fastest of all in sector 2 at a 39.6.
This is going to be about a 45.7, I think, for him. Should slot him in to second place. He gets a clean run through the last couple of corners, which he has done. Only 13 cars out, and he goes through, oh, better than that, 45.449.006 of a second away from Robin Liddell. Wow.
That's close.
Half a second further back now to Aschenbach in third, and then 7/10 to Christina Nielsen. Audi, Porsche, Audi, Ferrari, Lambo, Lambo, Porsche, Audi, BMW, BMW. And the top 10 separated by about 1.7 seconds.
Yeah, 13 cars is what we expect. The number 11 car was on the entry list, but with no nominated drivers, and we assumed that Townsend Bellador Sweden were going to drive that car, but apparently not. And then the other car, so
that was our Le Mans winning team, wasn't it?
They're not non-starters apparently. And the other car that we won't see in qualifying, number 27 car. It was due to be driven by Lawrence St. George, Cedric Smith-Riley, and Luca Persiani, but that car was basically destroyed. A huge accident yesterday, and the braking for the inner loop. And I saw Larry Edscorn, who's a team manager there earlier on today, and they were working on a garage on another car, looked almost ready to go, and that is indeed what they are doing. They do have a spare car, but IMSA regulations are you're not allowed to use a spare car, so they're just prepping it for next week at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And they bought the second car mainly as a spares, for spares, but now it's kind of shuffled things around because now the crash car carries some spares, but not very many, because it bent most of them on that car.
Yes. The right-hand side bodywork was probably usable. Other than that, not so much. 12 seconds left then. Liddell from Farnbacher. Christina Nielsen, there you go, that's what I was telling you about qualifying, 15-minute chunks, that's perfect.
So Lufton Aschenbach did improve on that last lap, 45.5 as the checker flag comes out, so these laps will count. Here comes Robin Liddell, quickest at the moment, just gone purple in sector 1. So we're going to put together the final part of this lap.
No better for Christina Nielsen, she'll be no better than fourth then, outside of the first row, but that's a very good effort indeed, worked up to 146.2.
Was an improvement for Robin Liddell, a 45.407 for a fractional improvement. Where is Mario Farnbacher? He's just gone personal best in sector 1.
Lost 2/10 though to the provisional pole sitter. Needs to grab those back. He's good actually in the middle and the last sectors.
Yep.
So right. Farnbacher's still got half a chance. Here comes the number 9 for the final right-hander, which is the final corner here. 45.5, the best for that car. Comes across the line now. And 45.597, so just 3/1000ths of a second away from his best. Will be no better than third position. Corey Lewis and Farnbacher yet to complete their laps.
Madison Snow just completed his lap and improved one position up to 4th. So he pips Christina Nielsen.
Yeah, and a 10th clawed back in the middle sector for Farnbacher, but he's coming into the pits. So not close enough. Do you know, I think I'd have let him run there. He was only a 10th down on the overall pole position. He's only 0.042 behind him anyway. And, well, team bring him into the pit lane. So congratulations to Scotsman Robin Liddell.
That is Robin's first pole in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship since the kind of amalgamation with the American Motor Series and Grand Am in 2013.
Jim Roller is down at that part of pit lane, basking in the afternoon sunshine. Still reasonably pleasant out there. If a little windy, the wind has been blowing across the start-finish line for most of the day, and there's been a cooling influence.
It's been wonderful.
Well, yes, because you're wearing 3-layer Nomex.
Exactly.
And a very fetching IMSA radio hat, if I might say so.
Huge amount of success here for Stevenson Motorsports in the past. They've won the last 2 years in the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge, stepping back up into the Premier League of IMSA Racing now. And this will be the team's first pole since doing so at the beginning of this year with these Audi R8 LMS GT3 cars.
And in comes the red and white Eagle livery. Seems appropriate on Independence Day weekend, doesn't it? It's a big number 1 on the side of the 6, a 3 on the 9, and Jim Roller makes his way over the pit wall and onto the bright white concrete. Robin Liddell with that blue and white helmet that he's had for years. That's how we know it's Robin Liddell.
With the big white L on.
With the big white L on one side, yeah, absolutely.
Gets the congratulations of the team. Sure, he's looking for Mr. Stevenson to give him the nod as well. One of the venerable IMSA teams moved over to the WeatherTech Series from the Continental Tire Sports Car Championship. There he is. Congratulations, Robin. We'll let you get that helmet off so we can talk to you. As John said, it was an absolutely outstanding performance. It's Audi coming into its own here at the Glen with these long straightaways. Robin, congratulations. The Audi performing very well here at this venerable racetrack.
Yeah, the Audi really performing extremely well around here, and also the team doing a super job. You know, we've worked really hard on this program to make it good. Johnny and Susan's support, obviously, coming from the Continental Series into this. The competition's seriously high here, and yeah, I must say, I mean, feel really, really happy with the result. Just, it might sound silly, but qualifying, you know, ultimately it's the opportunity for the driver to show pace, and to beat some of these young guys out here that are really at the top of their game, it feels really special. So can't thank the team enough, and really looking forward to the race tomorrow.
Now, you competed in the Continental Tire Sports Car Championship race. You had just about enough time to go put on some fresh overalls. Does that make it a little bit tougher or just a little bit easier because you're still kind of in that mode?
Dude, it's brutal. I mean, I've got a splitting headache. You know, you can't do these races without just end up being used up in one way or another. So I can't say I was really looking forward to the qualifying, to be honest. But in the end, it's a challenge, and, you know, that's why we go racing, right?
Yeah. What about tomorrow now? What's the strategy going to be?
Just stay out front. I mean, look, the big advantage obviously here is for us, we've had, the car performs exceptionally well on a high speed, you know, long radius turn. It's very aerodynamically efficient. It's good to drive. We've had to work some on making it better over the curbs. Well, the resurfacing was very smooth, but the curbs were quite rough in the bus stop. And we were fortunate enough to come and test here in May, which is really the first time we started to get our handle on the car and actually understand the car more. So you know, where we had a slow start to the season, finding our feet with it. Now we've gotten a bit of a handle on it, and the test really helped us roll off the trailer with a good baseline.
All right, well, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant work by Robin Liddell and by Jim Roller down there in the pit lane. Brad Kettler down in the pit lane. I'm sure you can hear this, Brad. Great to have you back, mate. You were very much missed at Le Mans. Just saw the man who is effectively Mr. Audi Customer Racing. So see if we can grab a quick word with Brad there. He's just in the back of the Stevenson pit, was involved in a road traffic accident, not of his making, which rather badly injured him a little while ago. Jim Roller has spotted him as well.
Yes, John. Welcome back, my friend. Good to see you at a racetrack again. You were sorely missed in France this year.
Yeah, I really missed being there. I mean, it was hard to watch it from home, but I got to participate a little bit.
How so?
A little bit on television. I gave a couple interviews and helped the broadcast team a little bit.
Well, good. How are you feeling?
Yeah, well, I'm really happy for Stevenson Motorsport and for Audi Sport Customer Racing to have a good result here in qualifying.
All right, what do you got for him tomorrow? Anything?
Oh, well, we hope more of the same. I mean, that's what we have, and the guys gave it all they could, and we see where we ended up.
Well, it's great to see you back at a racetrack, my friend.
Thanks, Jim.
The big question now is who is going to get the GTLM pole, and I can at least tell you the driver's trying for it. Down at Corvette Racing, it's the M contingency. In the 4, it's Milner. In the 3, it's Magnussen. For the 68 Ferrari, it will be Alessandro Pierguidi, our pole sitter, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Down to Porsche World, we find Nick Tandy in the 911 and Fred Macco in the 912. Next up on the pit lane, in terms of going towards pit out, we find the 2 Fords, Richard Westbrook in the 67. He's still the only 67 driver I've seen so far this weekend. Joey Hand in the Le Mans winning 66. Giancarlo Fisichella will be sitting out this one, letting Tony Vilander do the driving duties for the Risi Competizione Ferrari. And down at BMWs, we find John Edwards in the 100 and Dirk Werner in the 25. Those are the guys going for pole. We'll see which one of them we get to talk to in about 15 to 20 minutes.
Am I going to have to get fitted for a set of Ford overalls this weekend if Briscoe doesn't turn up?
I think you'd better.
What was the problem, Shea? Did we find out what the problem was with the 912 car? Only did about 4 laps this morning when we were expecting Earl Bamber to go out and turn some qualifying simulations.
No, never did find out what the problem was, but John, they had put him out on not quite sticker rubber. It was brand new, but they had actually peeled the stickers off. They were ready for him to go out for a while, but he did a lot of in and out laps. They were working on something, but they never took him behind the wall. It was something that they were working on the pit lane. So I'm going to try and find Earl and ask him.
Thanks very much, Shea. Adam down in the pit lane. Before that, you heard Jim Roller talking to Brad Kettler, the North American face and voice of Porsche, excuse me, sorry, Brad, of Audi Sport Customer Racing, and a man who has had more than his fair share of Le Mans victories in his time. I'm sure many of his competitors would say that as well. New era of engineer at Audi Sport Team Yost with Lena Gade moving on to pastures new, moving to a management role within Bentley Motors and their competition department. And of course, even Chris Renke, who was looking after the R18 project, he's now moved on to, in fact, effectively be Brad's new boss, because he oversees now the worldwide Audi Sport Customer Racing team. Stefan Dreyer taking over the R18 project back over in the WEC for the P1 project. So the GT Le Mans class rolls out 180, 200 miles an hour where conditions allow. An open tyre formula here, but only Michelin being used this weekend since the demise of the Falcon tyre team. And cars rolling out. Big disconnect at Le Mans between the new for 16 turbocharged cars, the Fords and the Ferraris, and the normally aspirated Aston Martins, Corvettes and Porsches. And the BMW's added to that here with a turbocharged engine in the States, and they have been the dominant force so far. We gave Shea Adam a quest, find out what happened to the 912 this morning. She's gone to the driver to find out. Earl Bamber, he won't know. He won't know. He's only a driver.
Actually, he does know. What was the problem this morning, Earl?
Unfortunately, this morning we blew the steering rack, the seal in it, so we lost all the power steering and we couldn't drive, unfortunately. But the guys did a good turnaround. Car's fixed for qualifying now, and but we had a good race car. It felt really nice, and you could see 911 was quite competitive. So I'm looking forward to the quali, and I think we have a good race car on the long runs tomorrow as well, and being in a fighting chance like we've been for the whole season.
Last year it was your first time to this track. Now it's Fred's first time here. What's it been like teaching somebody how to go around Watkins Glen?
Actually, Fred's been here before. He did a little bit of testing for us last year before the race, so he's been here, but you know, you don't need to coach Fred. He's very experienced, but the rest of the season he hasn't been to many of the tracks, so been telling him a few good stories about Mosport. I told him he'll enjoy that one, so we're looking forward to going up there next week as well.
That's always a good Porsche track. You should do well.
Well, there we go then. I was joking, Earl Bamber is one of the classic Porsche engineering type drivers. He does actually take an interest in what's going on. So a blown steering rack you can write in your little column for this morning, Jeremy Shaw.
Yes, I was just looking down the combined times from each of the 3 sessions so far, and each of the drivers. There's been 19 drivers amongst the 10 GTLM cars. Each of the cars with 2 drivers, except for the fact, of course, Ryan Briscoe not here. Wife is
Nicola's just produced second child.
And 15 of the 19 drivers have set lap time within 0.8 of 1 second.
About 2 hours ago, Ryan Briscoe tweeted he was about 160 miles away, so he's not going to make this session. So he will not have driven at all until morning warm-up. But he will be able to presumably be able to take part in that, and that will clear him for the race. But the car will have to start from the back of the GT Le Mans field because one of the drivers will not have done minimum time. Now that said, to be honest, there would be some places that would question whether you could let the driver get in the car, but not here. Ryan's got plenty of experience of the car.
Yep, just got a couple of weeks to go at Le Mans. 24-hour race there. So
I think he probably knows his way around the cockpit by now.
Did a fairly good job in the last race as well.
Yes, he rather did, didn't he? 11.5 minutes to go. Here's the time starting to come in. It's Jan Magnussen and Tommy Milner who have gone around first of all, racing in tandem 4 from 3, but it's 3 from 4 as far as the timing is concerned. And once again, although this is a different tyre manufacturer, all Continentals in GT Daytona, the GT Le Mans category all electing to use Michelin. They could use any tyre they want, but they elect to use Michelin's, and they are taking it steadily on their first flying laps. Here comes the 911 Porsche, the 911 Porsche, I should say, Mick Tandy. And nobody's beaten the GT Daytona time yet. That's how easily they're taking it. Track limits there at exit of turn 1 for Tandy as he rolls over the curb onto the other side. We're told that track limits at 1 and 8 in particular, but track limits everywhere will be being very carefully monitored both during this session and the race itself, and any excessive use of the runoff areas, i.e. no part of the car left on the racing circuit, will result in disqualification of that lap time, and in the race a warning, a second warning, and then drive-throughs, and for repeated offences stop and holds. Nobody got pinged in the last practice session, I noticed.
That's not what we know about. Well,
yes, that's true.
We didn't hear anything, did
no.
we?
Corvette's just keeping their Michelin's the right side of the white line coming out the final corner, and Tommy Milner lays down a 144 flat to Jan Magnussen's 144.1. Qualifying record here, Jeremy, is broken?
144.0.
Ah, 0 what?
084.
Yeah, we've just broken the record on the first proper flying lap of 44.008. And then Tony Vielander has taken another 10th out that of 40. Oh no, more than that, a 43, taking a second, 7/10 of a second out of it. 43.339.
Yeah.
That's now a new qualifying record. Yes.
Opening gambit, and the fastest lap this morning in the final practice session of 42.1. That was set by not only Richard Westbrook in the 67 Ford, but also Dirk Werner, number 25 BMW, and Tony Vielander in the 62 Ferrari.
42.9, how'd you like that? 42.980 from Joey Hand, but immediately Alessandro Perguidi goes down to a 42.946. We're going to be dealing in the hundreds and thousands, and by that I don't mean sprinkles on the top of your ice cream. Nick Tandy just gone so wide at turn 1 that you virtually have to look both ways to get back on the track. So that's a lap that's not going to count this time around. I'm surprised to see it's his best first lap time. Might as well ease off, chill his tyres down, as that one isn't going to count. Richard Westbrook does a 43.1, drops into third position. Ferrari, Ford, Ford, Ferrari. That would be the turbocharged cars. No signs of BMWs yet.
No, and they both joined the track a little bit late, didn't they? Both are out there now, but weren't out for the first couple of laps of the session.
Dirk Werner in the number 25 and John Edwards in the number 100. The 25, by the way, with the Prototype Technology Group, the PTG livery, with a bit of added stars and stripes. 42.946 from Perguidi last time around.
Yeah,
and here he comes now.
Purple in sector 2, although it's been eclipsed by Richard Westbrook, who's behind him on the racetrack.
Here comes the current provisional pole sitter, 42.706. I thank you. Yep. Joey Hand does a 42.9 and a 42.2, 42.337, excuse me.
Wait for Westy.
Oh, Westy's on a flyer.
Where is he?
Westy's on a 41.7 or 41.8 if he keeps up this pace.
Coming to the final corner now.
He was 6/10 quicker in the middle sector than Joey Hand, using that turbocharged engine, and 41.3, will you believe?
Yeah, within a couple of tenths of what he managed this morning then.
It's a second quicker than everybody else, using the very clever electronic control of the turbos to best effect. Effectively the anti-lag system on that EcoBoost engine uses a very clever set of electronics, and another off-track excursion for a Porsche. This time it's the 912 who've gone all four wheels over. Fred McAvicky on the penultimate corner. That was his best lap, but I've got a feeling he's going to lose that. Takes him to 7th in class. If you listen to the Fords around the circuit, you can hear the wastegate chattering, as the same with the Ferraris as they're off the boost, but on the Ford you get a slightly different noise. A very clever set of electronics to keep the turbo spinning and keep the boost pressure up. No improvement for Perguidi that time around.
So a tenth slower. Joey Hand does improve to 41.9.
Gets within 6-7 tenths of his teammate.
I think again.
But now here's a BMW coming through. And this is the 25 car. And does it bother the top of the standings? It does, because Dirk Werner goes immediately to 2nd position with a 41.6. So 41.3, 41.6, 41.9. Here's Westbrook.
Oh, sure. Okay, he lost it. He must have made a mistake in the final sector.
Yeah.
Because it cost him 3 seconds or more.
Unless he just lifted off to find a bit of space. What's his first sector like on his next lap? He goes through the first sector now.
From John Edwards, 4th fastest, number 100 BMW. 42.1.
So the top 5 are all turbocharged cars. Best of the normally aspirated machines is Tommy Milner in the 6th place, number 4 Chevy Corvette. The 62 Reese car bit out of position there. Tony Vilander only down in 7th position. Should really be a little bit further up than that.
Yeah, managed a 42.1 this morning.
41.3. What was the old qualifying lap record? 44?
44.0.
Yeah, so better part of 3 seconds at the moment. I'm not sure we're completely over with either. If there's big lock-up on the right front of the 3rd place Ford, the 66 of Joey Hand. Hope that hasn't done too much damage to their set of Michelins. Here comes the BMW again, the number 25 car. And doesn't improve, 41.8.
10th and a half slower at his best. 41.6, that's a good lap.
Had a very good last sector.
Improves again. 41.2.
We're going to see a 40 point something.
That's astonishing. That's almost a full second quicker than he managed this morning.
The benefit of having a turbo car is, of course, you can turn it up and down. And
John Edwards improves to 41.905.
There's no fuel consumption regulations here for the turbocharged GT cars. I think it's something.
There are boost limits.
There are boost limits, that's correct. There are boost limits because cars, and unlike in other series, here IMSA monitor them in real time. So that is something I really like because it means you get the penalty for it directly in the race. Not afterwards on a Tuesday afternoon when somebody's sifting through the data that's been downloaded on a card. 2 minutes to go, that's another lap for most people. Tony Vilander goes through. Improvement for him, but not for his position.
Number 67 car on top of the charts again, as it was, of course, last time out at Mazda Raceway at Laguna Seca. The GTLM cars didn't run at Detroit. That clashed with the
Test weekend.
Test weekend, absolutely right. Ford
Which is a shame.
Good here.
It really is a shame because these are the manufacturer.
West is on another good. Oh, has he lifted off now?
It's hard to tell with a Ford because it never looks like it's under any pressure.
Yeah, he has lifted off, but he'd gone purple in sector 1 again, so faster still for Richard Westbrook. I think the team probably said, hey, you don't need to go any faster than that.
Into the pit lane. And so that leaves Dirk Werner, perhaps. John Edwards, perhaps. BMW second and third there, ahead of the second Ford of Joey Hunt.
Yeah.
Then Ferrari. Tommy Milner is in 6th position now.
42.7. And Tommy Milner this morning, that car managed a 42.4 in practice.
So
backslapping going on there in the Ford.
The Fords and the BMWs have gone quicker than they did this morning. Everybody else is around about the same.
At least they haven't gone 4.5 seconds quicker.
No, true.
Yeah, good job done there by Richard Westbrook.
Yeah, great. We have a Ryan Briscoe update from Shea Adam.
He's here, much like his baby girl arrived before we thought he would. I was talking to the team earlier, and they said that his child was not due until the end of July, decided to make her appearance this weekend. Richard Westbrook has gotten out of the car, and he is waiting behind the timing stand with his helmet still on. He's one of those superstitious guys. He's not celebrating until the checker is out and all the cars have crossed the line.
Checker is out now, but there's a couple of BMWs and a Ferrari still out there. Porsches are 9th and 10th at the moment, which I'm sure will delight Nick Tandy and Fred Makovecki. I feel some grumpiness at the hotel next to ours tonight. Cruising in now, the IHG Rewards Club number 25 BMW in that fabulous PTG Stars and Stripes tribute livery. So he's in the pit lane, he won't improve. It's only the 100 car now, I think, as Alessandro Paguidi is coming too. Tony Wielander is out there on a personal best looking lap, but not sure he's going to be able to find the 2.5 seconds required. And the 100 peels into the pit lane. 3.5 tenths the gap between Richard Westbrook and the first of the BMWs. It's a second consecutive pole position for Ford and for the 67 Ford in the IMSA WeatherTech Championship. Tell him he can talk to you now, Shea.
He's still under the Ford tent. He's waiting for the last Ferrari to come around, and they're still not celebrating yet, John. So
oh, hang on, Nick Tandy's on a personal best, and he's only got 4.5 seconds to find. Let's find out if he can do it. As he comes through, and no, he did a 43.4 against a 41.3, so he's only 3 seconds away. So Richard can celebrate now.
He's not celebrating yet. He's still waiting. It's,
just get in there.
It's very calm in here in Ford World, actually.
Well, it's only what they expect now. They've got him won Le Mans. It's dead easy from here on.
Yes, but it's the other car. It's the 67. They've only won one race so far, and it was only a 2:45, so it wasn't that much. It's still a win is a win. He's actually up on the timing stand, so I'm going to have to climb up there and get him.
Okay, we'll stay with you as you do that. Anytime you're ready, Richard, your public awaits. Ah, yes. Comes down the stairs to be met at the bottom of the pit perch by Shea Adam.
Sorry to be the paparazzi on you, Richard. You've had a lot of driving this weekend, and now you've won this race last year in the rain overall. You're going for another one. It's pretty dry, though. Clearly, the track still works well with you, and you won the last race. Think you can make it 2 for 2?
3 for 3. Yeah, that would be. No, we're on for a hat trick, actually. But yeah, you know, different class, completely different set of circumstances, and yeah, I mean, been working hard all weekend. It's good to get my teammate back now, so I can put my feet up tomorrow. So yeah, car's been working really well. Confidence is high after Le Mans, and yeah, really, really pleased with the lap. It really was just one lap for the tyres out there. It was just the grip out there is just unbelievable with a new surface, and it takes a lot from the tyres. And yeah, when they were ready, I felt good, and yeah, I was ready to put the lap in, and I'm glad I did it on that lap, because I couldn't really match it after that.
Well, with all the grunt work that you've been doing this weekend so far, all the setup and whatnot, you get a bit of a lion in the morning, right? You're going to make Ryan start the car and drive for the first 3 hours. He's got to get used to getting up early anyway.
Yeah, well, there's no way I'm doing warm-up. I'm going to, yeah, he can do warm-up, I know that. But no, I mean, you know, we tested here last month, and Ryan is, you know, he's bloody fast, and he'll have no problems. I mean, the car is really neutral to drive. It's nice. It's just a question what the heat's going to do to the tyres, not just for us, but for everyone.
Well, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Cheers, Shane.
Yeah, I'm absolutely not driving in warm-up tomorrow. I've done quite enough, thank you.
It'll be AWOL tomorrow morning, I think.
Yes. Set the alarm clock a bit later, have a nice leisurely breakfast before popping in. And he will have to start the race, of course, having put the qualifying time in, unless they want to give up their position, which I'm sure they won't.
Well,
so,
do they have to? Were you saying?
Oh, no, well, yes, of course, yeah, you're right, they'll have to, because Briscoe hasn't got a timing in a session. Now, whether the warm-up session in the morning will count, I suppose it does, it's an official session. Chip Ganassi just congratulating Westy there. That's something that we might want to find out, pit crew. With Ryan Briscoe not having arrived till now, does his laps in the morning, will his laps in the morning count towards a percentage lap? Or will that car have to go to the back because the driver wasn't here on time? That means all bets are off at that point, because it means you could start anybody else and choose whatever tyres you want. So in a small field and a 6-hour race, it's not necessarily the worst thing that can happen. Might even see 1 or 2 people decide to have a look at that if conditions change markedly between now and tomorrow.
Well, good point. Yeah, particularly as there was Wesley saying that you got the best out of the tyres on their best lap, and he couldn't match it again thereafter. So, certainly time management. We talked about it earlier on in the day, and this new surface here, it is smooth, it is grippy, but it can potentially tear up the tyres a little bit more than perhaps had been anticipated originally.
So, if you're just joining us for the 4 qualifying sessions, it's Robin Liddell for the number 6 Audi that took pole in GTD ahead of Mario Farnbacher for the 23 Porsche, and Robin's teammate in the 9 Audi in 3rd position. Madison Snow make up the first 2 rows, and the number 48 Paul Miller Lamborghini. Richard Westbrook for Ford with a new lap record. New lap record for Liddell as well, by the way. New qualifying lap record. Lap records overall only set in races before anybody starts tweeting. At 1:41.3 against a 44 flat. So quite a chunk of time taken out of the lap record, as we expected with the new breed of GTLM cars, as well as the new breed of GT Daytona cars. Dirk Werner will be on the outside of the front row in GTLM, Ford versus BMW. Row 2 is BMW versus Ford, so they are reversed. I can see diffusers being knocked off by competitors going down into turn 1 here. That's the 100 and the 66. It's Ferrari versus Corvette on row 3. 68 Ferrari. Alessandro Pagidi qualified that car. Tommy Milner in the Corvette number 4. Then 62 Risi Competizione versus the number 3 Corvette. And then on row 5 of GTLM's grid, the back row of that grid, Porsche's 911 and 912 hoping it pours with rain tomorrow.
Yeah, the surprise for me certainly there was Tony Villander, almost a full second slower than he managed this morning in the practice session.
Makes you wonder if they made some changes that they wish they hadn't.
Yeah.
Then again, I'm sure the guys at Risi will tell you they don't really care about winning pole. They will want a car tomorrow that they can use strategically. In the past, they've been very good with their strategy. Even when they haven't had a quick car, they clearly do have a quick car. Over 24 hours, it was the only GTLM car that could run with the pace of the factory Fords. Right, let's put another 15 minutes on the clock. You're listening to IMSA Radio, live from trackside at Watkins Glen. John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw in the broadcast booth. Our Continental Tire Pit Lane reporters are Shea Adam and Jim Roller. And next up, the Prototype Challenge category. This is a spec chassis and spec engine, all Continental tyres as well. This the entry-level class for prototype racing. It stretches backward quite a long way to what was originally an LMP1 car. Ran in Europe as the Formula Le Mans series. Didn't really take off over there, but came to the States and has, well, certainly underpinned the last few years of the American Le Mans series and has done very well in the new IMSA Series 2. It's a car that's relatively simple to work on. The origins of it go way back to before, in fact, it was an Orica. It goes back a very, very long way. Courage, yeah, absolutely. Jeremy mentioning that the designs were bought up after Courage ceased trading, and Hugh de Schornack has made a very good business model out of it. Hugh de Schornack of Orica, based at Circuit Paul Ricard in the south of France. Mated here with a K-Tech prepared V8 engine, which are exceptionally robust and reliable. New electronics package for the cars this year, which have taken a little bit of time to get everything right. They were first introduced at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, and it wasn't a clean bill of health, certainly, from all of the teams. But I think the issues are being gradually ironed out. Traction control now, different paddle shift configuration, gearbox remapping.
Yeah. It's amazing how many upgrades these cars have had over the years, isn't it? It's quite remarkable. I'm not sure there'll be many cars that have been upgraded this many times in as many different ways, but it's still a great package. It provides great racing, and it also provides great qualifying too. And we've seen really good speed out of these cars this weekend in the 37s.
And we've always seen good qualifying and good racing from these guys. It's almost always last car across the line gets pole position, and the testament to just how good a package these have been. The cars are coming to the end of their usable lifespan now, and it's proving very hard for IMSA to find something new with which to replace them. Shea Adam has got news on the qualifying drivers, Shea.
We have two in particular that we're going to need to keep our eyes on, John. The number 20 has Johnny Mollum behind the wheel. He is always a threat for pole no matter where we are, and particularly at Daytona. He's now gotten that 2 years in a row. But in the 8, it will be defending race winner Renger van de Zande. And so far in qualifying, our pattern has been people who won last year, because Robin Liddell won in the GS class, the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge race. Then we had Richard Westbrook in the GTLM pole, who won prototype overall last year, and now we've got Renger, who is the only defending race winner in the PC class. So that's who my money would be on if this pattern is going to keep upholding.
Don't forget, Johnny Mollum is not very well this weekend, full of cold. Sounded unlike himself actually when Jim Roller was interviewing at arm's length earlier on. But, Johnny still enjoys his motor racing and is very keen to continue planting cars on pole positions. See who does what to whom in the next 12 and a half minutes, because we've already counted down some of the 15 that we had on the clock. We should see times better than the GTLM, so they should be sub 1 minute 40. Certainly we've seen those already in terms of the split between the different classes, Jeremy. That seemed to work out quite well in the practice sessions earlier on today.
Yes, it did. The PC cars slotting in nicely in between the GTLMs and the outright prototypes. Probably expect the same again right now. Although some of the AM drivers will be qualifying these cars, and I think all of them should be able to manage better than the 41, yeah.
Track temperature is as hot as I think we've seen it all weekend. Just had the news through that it's 105 degrees.
That's good.
So toasty. Even Shea Adam thinks it's pleasant weather, and she's a native of Florida for whom no heat is too hot.
James French at the wheel, number 38 car for Performance Tech. He made his drove an Indy Lights car last weekend and made his debut at his home track at Road America. Did a pretty respectable job actually. Finished, I think, both races in the top 10. It wasn't a huge field, but there were sort of 14 or 15 cars, and he did a very, very nice job.
I like James's the way he approaches his motor racing. I think he's very down to earth. He's got reasonable expectations. He knows his talent. He has tried to walk before he can run. Doesn't any advice that's offered, he's not likely to spurn it. He'll sit and listen to it. Like his attitude.
Yes, I do too. And driven a lot of horsepower cars in the past, certainly Formula 1 cars, even in the vintage car stable that the Frenchies have.
Yes, and it's quite often, you know, people that come that I've driven insert name of exotic car here. I know what I'm doing.
The immortal words.
Yes, leave me alone. I know what I'm doing. But James has not done that at all. He's come with an open mind, and I think that is great credit to him. So Robert Alon is the first to show time-wise, and as I say that, John Bennett in the 54 comes through. Just a little bit of a lock-up on the front wheels as he was on the difficult downhill braking for turn number 1. Nobody yet quicker than the GTLM cars. That will come. These guys will be dialing themselves in. They'll have put enough fuel to get them right the way through the 15 minutes. So I expect to see them take 3 or 4 laps, maybe even more, before they get their Continental tyres up to temperature and pressure.
Yeah, Robert Alon, you were just talking about for the number 52 car for PR1 Matheson Motorsports. He's qualified on the pole position each of the last 2 races, Mazda race for Laguna Seca and Detroit. And that car also was qualified on the pole at Sebring by Tom Kimber-Smith. So 3 poles out of the 5 races already run so far this season in the PC class.
Comes across the line now, and there is the first time quicker than the GTLMs. Robert Alon goes to a 140.396. So 140.396 for Robert Alon. I expect that he will not be, that won't be quick enough for Paul, I'll tell you that now. And he won't be the only driver ahead of the GTLMs for very long, with Johnny Morlam, Misha Goikberg and James French getting up to speed. Looks like it's Mark Kvame's name behind the wheel of the 88, but that could be anybody, as we found out this weekend. I'm not sure what's going on with the 88 car.
Strange. Yesterday, I think, no one else in that car was credited with a time yesterday. This morning they were, but not yesterday.
Greg van der Sande has come out of the pits in the 8-Star Works car.
Stand back.
John Bennett goes through into second with a 41.062.
Having been purple in the first sector, he was 3 tenths quicker than Robert Lon in the first sector. Lost about a second comparatively in the remainder of the lap.
James French comes through to complete another lap, and he goes to 3rd place. Still building up though. I feel there's a lot more in these cars, Jeremy.
Oh yeah, they're going
Alon's coming to complete another lap.
They'll get another 3 or 4 laps in. I'm sure for most of them, each lap will be quicker than the last one.
Alon rumbles to the line just underneath us. From our left to right, goes across the line and doesn't improve. 140.5. Oh, I wonder if this new surface is taking more out of the Continental tyres than the teams thought.
I think he probably just had a bobble somewhere on that final sector.
8-Star Works car, Renger van der Sande, his first flyer is a rather gentle 143. As Johnny Morlam goes up to 3rd place with a 41.2. That was his 4th time past the start-finish line. John Bennett will be the next through. In the orange, white and blue prototype challenge car. Here he comes. 7 minutes to go. Halfway through the sesh. Misha Goikberg putting a decent lap together as John Bennett improves to a 40.7, just 3 tenths away from Robert Alon.
Yeah, and Jonathan Bennett's particularly quick through the sector 1.
Robert Alon is good in sector 2, best of anybody at the moment until Misha Goikberg goes through in a second or 2. Goikberg the quickest of anyone through sector 1 in this session. Sitting at the moment down in 5th position. Where's Goikberg gone? 30. Oh no, he's dropped time in the middle sector. Too much time.
Yeah, more than a second.
In the 85 car. And now he's got Johnny Morlam catching him up, and he's going to be in the way for Johnny to get a decent lap if he doesn't see him. Morlam, slightly head forward, characteristic driving position. Always looks good in the car. Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
No, 40.1 there for Robert Alon. So that is an improvement.
Stretches his lead out to half a second. Here comes the 85 of Goikberg. The bright yellow car goes across the line now and improves his time, but not his position. Johnny Morlam goes through, and that's a new best time for Johnny, 40.4. So it's all, and Renger van der Sande goes up into second and is only a tenth away from Robert Alon. So it's 52.820, Alon, Renger van der Sande and Morlam.
Robert Alon fractionally quicker on this next lap than Renger van der Sande through the first sector. Robert Alon really is impressive. I mean, he's just got 2 years of racing in anything prior to this campaign. Those 2 years in the IMSA Prototype Lights Championship, the Mazda Prototype Lights Championship, and this season, wow, he's really come on strong. He'd really gelled with his car, working with Bobby Alder there, the PR1 Matheson Motorsports team. And
who knows which way is up.
Yeah, and working with Tom Kimber-Smith as well.
And Tom is a very unselfish driver, was the word I was looking for. A bit of a lock up for the 38 there. James French just grabbed the right front tyre as he was going down into turn 1. This is going to be a real battle. Van der Zande's got half a chance here, you know, of sneaking the provisional pole with just 4.5 minutes to go. Here comes Alon. Does he improve? No, he doesn't. He's done a 40.132 and a 40.133. Those are the 2 fastest laps. You'll be not surprised to hear. Here's Renke van der Zande in the Monaco coloured car.
Is this going to be good enough?
It is, yep. 1:39.8, excuse me. 1:39.8.
Yeah, and John Bennett again super fast in sector 1, but loses better part of 3/4 of a second in sector 2 compared to Renke van der Zande. But up until that lap, we've still got the top 5 cars level covered by less than 9/10 of a second.
3.5 minutes to go, Jeremy. Still think there's some time to come here.
Yeah, Mark Kawami hasn't turned the quick laps yet, has he?
No.
Wow.
He's not quicker than the GTD field at the moment.
Oh, that's surprising. Earlier he turned he's done more laps than anybody else coming into this session. His best is showing up as a 40.1, although I wonder whether, I think maybe that was one of the laps that was credited yesterday.
Yeah.
It wasn't credited when the other drivers actually come to think of it.
So 39.
Van der Zande, purple, first 2 sectors.
This is going to be a 39.5 or something close to it. Robert Alon trying to keep pace, just a little bit behind Renke van der Zande on the circuit. Best times for him. There's 3/10 between these two, duking it out as if this was a race. They're not on the track together. Here comes Alon.
Yeah, 39.7.
39.805 for 39.704 for Robert Alon. 39.805. It's all changed again as Renke van der Zande goes through a 39.1 now.
That's better.
This is more like it.
Yes, it is.
1, maybe 2 more laps. There'll be 2 more laps for Renke and for Robert. Johnny Morlam didn't improve that time around, took a slow lap. Maybe just cooling off the Continentals, finding a bit of space on the circuit. Will Morlam come again? He's in the first sector now. Through goes John Bennett, and Bennett goes up to 3rd place.
Wow.
140.422. He's pipped Morlam.
That's a stout effort by John Bennett, it really is. That's, I would say, by far his best qualifying effort to date.
Well, and it's not just about the position that he's in, Jeremy, it's about who's out there qualifying at the same time.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, to be quicker than Johnny Morlam, James French, who's had several poles to his name in the past. He's got 3 poles already.
Well,
in the last
French has
couple of
just
years.
gone through to 3rd with a 39.9, so 3 drivers inside 1:40. Renke van der Zande with a 39.1, 39.7 for Robert Alon. 8:52, and now the 38 car, James French with a 39.987. Minute to go.
Renke van der Zande very rarely gets the opportunity to qualify the car. He's going to be driving, just he and Alex Popal are driving this number 8 car, just the 2 of them aboard that car. They're going to be a strong combination. I saw Alex down at lunchtime. Let's see, there's an improvement there, not quite for Renke van der Zande by 0.004, but 2 really good laps from Renke. Doesn't yet have a pole to his name in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Does have 5 fastest laps.
Robert Alon got closer to him. 39.3 last time around, and another quick lap from Alon. James French is looking. James French is the last of the late qualifiers,
yes.
Isn't he?
Ask Chris Cumming.
The late James French. Checkered flag out, people celebrating, and French tends to go through and spoil the party.
Particularly for Chris Cumming a couple of years ago.
He made a habit of it, didn't he, Jeremy?
Yeah, Chris ran away, he couldn't take it anymore. He went off and did the World Endurance Championship instead. Being facetious there, but look at that, purple again there for Robert Alon in the middle sector.
Close. This is going to be close. Needs to find 2.5 tenths on Van der Zande. He's ahead of him on the circuit. The checkered flag is out. This will be Robert Alon's last chance at another pole position, and he comes through.
That's James French.
James French comes through now in the second. So James French with a 39.3. Alon. It'll be Renger van der Zande in the next car through, I think. No, it's going to be Alon. This is his last lap as well. And Robert Alon goes through and goes back to second. But just 39.211. So Renger van der Zande will be on pole. Question is by how much? Currently, his gap is 0.086 of a second, which is good enough. Doesn't need to have to worry about anything else as his competitors have seen the checkered flag. But he decides just to take a little bit more out. How about 0.8 tenths of a second? 38.4. Thank you, good night. Ding dong, Van der Zande calling.
Excellent lap by the Dutchman.
And just what we were talking about earlier on, 15 minutes, enough fuel to get through, a set of tyres that don't degrade and actually give you the opportunity to get faster as the fuel burns off. Johnny Morland confirmed in 4th position ahead of Misha Goldberg. John Bennett will be shuffled back to 6th after a really good run for him.
Yeah, certainly in the last 2 years, that's the first time that Renger van der Zande has even had an opportunity to qualify the car, and does so in some style there with a convincing pole position. So Johnny Mullen had to settle for 4th place, but the top 6, all except Mark Kawami then, all ahead of the GTLM cars. Jonathan Bennett, fine job he did, but he ended up only 6th. He'll be. He did a fine job there. It was a really good lap he put together, but everybody else went faster on the final lap. Misha Goldberg improved, Johnny Mullen improved, and John Bennett didn't on that final lap. And as we've seen all along, John, it's always the last lap that counts, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
In PC.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, John didn't quite get it together on that lap, but still a very, very competitive qualifying session in PC.
Our pole sitter in the bright fluorescent orange racing, yellow racing helmet comes into the pit lane in the Mishu Motors PC. Heading down.
He'll like this qualifying, Lark.
Oh, yeah, I think there'll be a big smile on his face.
Yeah, generally is a great character, isn't he, Renger? And thoroughly enjoys his racing, loves racing here in North America.
Carved himself a nice little career out, in fairness, over here.
Sorry, Chief.
Let's go down to our Continental Tire pit lane team and have a word with the 3rd of our 4 pole sitters, if you weren't with us earlier on. Robin Liddell for Audi, the number 6 team in GT Daytona. Richard Westbrook for Ford, the 67 car in GTLM. And now joining them, Renger van der Zande for the PC pole. Shea Adam is alongside him.
Renger jumps over the wall to congratulate team boss Peter Barron for that, and co-driver Alex Popoff. And Renger, before you went out, you had a look in your eyes like this was your pole. Nobody was going to stop you from getting it. And you went out there and proved that you could get the pole position. Race win at Detroit. Now pole position at Watkins Glen. That's a pretty good way to start the weekend. You feeling like your PC car can make it back to victory lane?
I mean, for sure, we're going for it. The car was phenomenal, and it's been all weekend, also in Detroit. I think we got it really well sorted. It's nice to be in pole position. It's nice to be qualifying again. It was quite a while in this car before when I got back for qualifying, so nice to do it here in Watkins Glen. We won it last year, also Detroit we won last year, so hopefully we can try and repeat that again and again.
You guys are running with only 2 of you this year, though. Last year you had Mike Hedlund with you. Now it's just you and Alex. How physical is this race going to be with just the 2 of you?
Well, I think it's a big advantage to do it with the 2 of us. Drive time-wise in free practice, Alex is doing a fantastic job. I can rely on his reliability, and I think from here on I mean, Daytona I did 4 hours in a row, and Alex did as well. So physically we're fine. It's a bit more demanding. I mean, the high-speed corners is for sure a little bit of a neck thing, but it's good enough to make it till the end.
Congratulations on this today, but I'm sure you'll be celebrating again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I spoke to Alex about that over the lunch break, and he was saying, you know, he's used to long stints. He drove 12 hours at Daytona because the third driver there he injured himself early on, so these two had to carry the load after that. But he did admit that particularly the carousel turn down there, turn 5, is kind of the opposite direction. It's a right-hander, so you know, his neck was certainly being stretched around there. So he acknowledged it's going to be a physical effort here tomorrow to get just the two of them to drive these cars, but they both reckon they're up for the task. And looking to get, as Shay was saying, there 2 wins in a row, having won the PC cars last time out in Detroit. Very different kind of a racetrack here, though, at Watkins Glen International, that's for sure. Completely different challenge.
Just, and thank you to Paul Walter, our steward of the meeting, race director, call him what you will, for responding to texts that we sent through. Just getting a clarification about the Ryan Briscoe driving for Ford issue. So long as Ryan drives in the morning warm-up and the reconnaissance laps, that will be enough laps for him to qualify into the car, provided, of course, he makes a reasonable job of it and isn't miles off the pace. So that would mean that the Ford does not have to give up its pole position starting spot. Prototypes are coming up next. Just another thing that I'm mulling over, looking at the times. 1.4 seconds between the Ford and the best non-turbo car in qualifying around a 3.4 mile circuit. If you make that about the same as Le Mans, that's going to be sort of 4.5 seconds. Ooh, wasn't everybody howling about that at Le Mans? It's a big amount of time for the turbo cars to have in a hand over the normally aspirated cars. So the monitoring of performance, no better or worse here than we saw at Le Mans, is what those qualifying numbers would say.
Yeah, if you look at the times from the practice sessions combined, it's a little bit closer than that. The best of the Corvettes was a 42.4 this morning compared to the 42.1, only 0.3, of course, as you say there. Richard Westbrook went significantly quicker in this qualifying session. That's the interesting thing to draw from that, yeah. And the Porsche not even close to the pace they manage in practice.
And by the way, I'm not passing any comment on there other than putting that up as a factual statistic.
Yeah,
I slightly have an issue with everybody thinking everything has to be exactly the same.
Yep.
That's why you have spec racing. This isn't spec racing. And even in spec racing, the gap between the front and the back can be quite big because you have different setup, different drivers' talents, different way people use cars. When you add into that the BOP doesn't include the tyres, doesn't include the drivers, thank goodness, and doesn't include how the cars are run over a race distance, i.e. how efficiently they are run by the team and how much of the potential performance is extracted from each of the cars over 6, 12, 24 hours or whatever. It makes you realise while balance of performance is such a difficult job for any of the sanctioning bodies who try it.
Fun, isn't it, looking at the timing screen as it is right now with that PC session completed. The top 5 drivers in the PC class in that session all went blue or purple in that on their final laps. So each was an improvement in every sector on their last lap. So good job by all those top 5. It's Renger van der Zende, Robert Alon, James French, Johnny Mollem and Misha Goikberg. Just a few minutes now before the prototype cars come out. There's going to be this should be quite interesting. We've got looking at the lap times from the first 3 sessions, fastest time was set by Pipo Derani this morning. That's car number 2. That's the Tequila Patrón Extreme Speed Motorsports entry. The Ligier Honda that won the first 2 races of the season at Daytona and Sebring, back for the 3rd round of the Tequila Patrón North American Endurance Championship. And looking for the hat-trick, John.
Article 301 of the regulations, by the way, for the Ryan Briscoe situation.
Cool.
Should anyone want to look it up. 15 minutes on the clock. Is already 14:27 as the purebred prototypes at the sharp end of the field are off and running. Time. What is time? As they head off into their qualifying session. Should be a battle between Derani, the 55 Porsche. He's in the 2-car, of course. Well, hang on. I say that. Is he in the 2-car? Who's qualifying the 2 cars? Shea, do you know who's doing the qualifying? You normally are the oracle of such things.
That is down at Jim's end, and it hasn't actually left the pit lane yet.
Okay, we'll get Jim to shout at us as soon as he knows. Tristan Nunez is in the 55 car. Oz Negri Jr. in the 60. Tom Long in the 70. Ryan DL out on the track in the 90. 31 is Eric Curran. 5 Christian Fittipaldi. 2-10 is Ricky Taylor. He's out on the circuit. Catherine Legg is out in the Delta Wing, the 0. At the moment, Scott Sharp is listed in the number 2 Honda, but that hasn't left the pit lane, and it is in fact Johannes van Overbeek who qualifies that car. All right, so this is a battle then between Oz Negri Jr. in the 60, Tristan Nunez in the 55, and possibly Johannes van Overbeek. For an outside bet, Ryan DL in the 90, and never count out Christian Fittipaldi because he's just mad and loves to drive fast, which is more than half the field. I've just realised I've mentioned there, for which I apologise, but really should be an LMP2 derived car here because of the smoothness of the circuit, and there's no traffic to speak of, so they don't have to worry about slowing down and speeding up. The Mazdas have been incredible in practice, particularly the 55 car in the Le Mans 1991 winning tribute livery.
Yeah, and all 3 drivers in that number 55 car, Jonathan Bomarito, Spencer Pigot and Tristan Nunez, all turning times within the top 6 overall, within just over 0.3 of a second of each other in terms of their best laps during the practice sessions. Now, of course, you don't know what configuration they were running in terms of fuel or tyres, but it just shows that car is fast, whoever's at the wheel of it.
Just had Right Turn Lover tweet into us at IMSA Radio. Was Renger van der Zander's a class qualifying record? His time of 1:38.407. It was by how much?
1:40.4 was Colin Brown's record from 2000.
So 2 seconds again.
Yep. The pole record here set 2 years ago by Alex Brundle, 1:37.9. We saw just about every car quicker than that in the practice sessions over the last couple of days.
Ricky Taylor puts in a 39.1. He's the first of the fast cars through, but again, the guys being very, very careful on their Continental tyres, getting them up to temperature and pressure, not pushing them too hard early on. Christian Fittipaldi on his first flying lap through the S's and heads off down towards the inner loop. Here is the 55, Tristan Nunez. This is his first fly at the end of it. Doesn't use all the road on the exit, so he's still building up to it. Comes through past us, screams across the line, that little 4-cylinder turbocharged car. And he does a respectable, but not blindingly quick 1:39.7. 10 minutes to go, Jeremy. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think
7. Should be a 37 in there today, shouldn't
I think there'll be 36s. Yeah, I think there'll be in the 36s. If not better than that.
That is the sound of the Mazda engine you can hear behind us.
Pretty good weather conditions right now, I would suggest.
Nunez looks absolutely relaxed behind the steering wheel. Economy of movement through the inner loop there. Nice and gentle down through the gearbox, doesn't bang down and try to shift the paddle shift too quickly. lets the engine catch back up between his gear shifts, even though a lot of that sort of thing nowadays is electronically assisted or indeed completely controlled that way. Through goes Johannes van Overbeek. Ricky Taylor with a 1:37.499 and 1:37.422 for Christian Fittipaldi. The DPs are the first to better Renger van der Zander's times. Eric Curran going through in a very respectable 38.5.
Once again, the DP cars building the heat into the tyres much more quickly than the P2 cars, the heavier cars.
That'll be interesting for the start and restarts tomorrow. Very interesting, Jeremy. That's noticeable, isn't it? When you've only got the 15 minutes to go. So basically, even after 3 laps, the DPs have got an advantage for all of those 3 laps. Here comes the 70 of Tom Long across the line. This is the Argyle livery, but in Soul red and silver. He goes 5th quickest, 1:38.226. Osnegri Jr. has just done a 1:38.0, the 55 into the pit lane. Now, this was not in the script.
Certainly wouldn't have thought so. They're going to plug in the data cord there.
That is one of my favourites for pole position.
Not going to leave something on the table again. They had the last couple of races. Unfortunately, the NAS team. Beaten by the PC cars in Detroit. Here comes Johannes van Overbeek now. Let's see what he can turn.
I heard the sound of a Mazda engine picking up there. Is that with you, Jim Roller?
Sure is, John. They called him in and told him they needed to plug in. They wanted to check something. They weren't sure if they were seeing an alarm or not, but they've told him it's okay and sent him back out.
That's Tristan Nunes in the 55 car, sitting at the moment in 11th position and only 7th in class. That is a car capable of far more than that. Johannes van Overbeek goes to the lead, 1:36.2. That's qualified lap record pace, is it not?
Oh yes, comfortably. 37.9 was the old record.
So everything we see now better than, in fact, 5th position, 6th position. Eric Curran's broken the old lap record.
Yeah.
Well done him. Here's
Ozzy Negri on a quicker lap now. He's gone second fastest on his last circuit around here, 1:36.5. So 3/10 down on Johannes van Overbeek. They're going faster now in the purple sector in sector 1.
Tom Long improves his time but not his position in the 70 car. He's cresting the rise at the top of the S's now and heading to the inner loop. Negri in turn 6 hugs the inside curb in that chrome, bronze and black machine with the stars and stripes proudly on the rear fin. That looks fabulous this weekend, that car.
Just really cool looking car.
If you've got to have fins on cars, put the flag of the entrant on it. I think that looks great. I really do.
So purple sector 1 for Negri, purple sector 2 for Van Overbeek there, was almost 3/10 quicker. Okay, purple again in sector 3 for Johannes van Overbeek, 1:35.722. Good lap.
Here comes Fittipaldi. He's going to improve his time. He does. 1:36.5, 4th position. The number 5 Action Express car. 2 Ligier Honda, the green and black ESM Tequila Patrón machine. From the 10, the black Wayne Taylor racing car. No, check that, because Osnegri Jr. has just gone through in second in the 60 car with a 1:36.4. But there's 3/4 of a second between first and second and third. 1:36.4 also for Ricky Taylor, now in 3rd position. 2:60.10, 5:90 and 31, your top 6. Still waiting for Tristan Nunes to come through, and he's just put in a cracking first sector. It's a couple of 3/10 away from the best, but he's matched Johannes van Overbeek. Van Overbeek going quicker still though, and Osnegri picking up the pace now. 5.5 minutes to go. The battle is on for pole position for the Sahlen 6 hours here at the Glen. 3rd round of the Tequila Patrón North American Endurance Championship.
Flies underneath the radar screen, doesn't he, Johannes van Overbeek? Before he's a talented driver.
Always been underrated. He was good in a Porsche. great in the prototype. Many people questioned the wisdom of taking him to the prototype program, but he's paid it off and pays it off again with a 35.543. He's got a second on the field, Jeremy, for the moment at least, till Osnegri comes through in that chrome number 60. Christian Fittipaldi having a big slide coming out of the final corner and getting very close indeed to the wall and touching the wall on the exit of turn number 11. Didn't slow him down much. How did Ozzy do? 136.3. He's pulled back a couple of tenths. How did Nunes do? 4th position. And Nunes now right in the wheel tracks of Christian Fittipaldi. He's got something to aim at, but he will need to get by him.
Here comes Tom Long in the number 70 car across the line. Previous best was 137.2.
Nunes has just put the fastest first sector in, Jeremy. If he doesn't get held up by Fittipaldi, he might actually be able to get a bit of a draft from the DP car.
Yeah, but I don't think I think he needs to get past him. I doubt Christian's going to let him past.
Osnegri's got traffic as well as he comes through turn 6 and heads for the toe of the boot at turn 7. That marvellous uphill, almost hairpin. So quick out of there, though. It's Eric Curran that's ahead of Osnegri.
Ricky Taylor fastest of all in sector 2. In the car number 10 for Wayne Taylor Racing. That's the Delara Corvette DP. That is impressive. And he virtually matched the purple sector in sector 1 too.
That's from the top of the S's through to the exit of the toe of the boot.
Here comes Ricky Taylor.
Goes to second, outside of the front row, 35.9. The DPs are not out of this, Jeremy.
That's a stunning lap by Ricky Taylor. Up in the second place, 35.9 against the 35.5 for Johannes van Overbeek.
Here's Osnegri coming through. He's got a bit of a toe down the front straight. Does he improve? He does to a 36.271. It's only good enough for 4th now.
Yeah, that's
Nunes has gone through to 3rd. 36.1. It's going to be a 35, low 35, isn't it, for Paul, if you're going to challenge Van Overbeek.
Ricky Taylor fastest again in sector 1. He is absolutely on it. What a tremendous effort by Ricky Taylor. The fastest DP lap so far in the practice session was Christian Fittipaldi this morning, a 36.2. As we're seeing a replay of Christian running out of road at the final corner.
That's twice now.
Was that the second time?
I think so.
Oh yeah, that was a
bit heavier hit than the first one, I think. But he hit it square on. Left a bit of debris there.
Purple for Johannes van Overbeek again in the middle sector. Ricky Taylor not far behind him, just a 1/10 of a second. And he was a 1/10 of a second quicker in the first sector.
Ooh, got to remember track limits here as well. The stewards will be looking for that. Here comes Van Overbeek. 35.5 to his name. Comes across the line now. And a 35.3. And still only half a second away from the field, though. Ricky Taylor's got a chance of closing down on that. He goes through 35.7. It's back to 4/10 again.
That is the fastest lap of the weekend so far by Johannes van Overbeek.
Good lad.
And just a minute and a half remaining, so I think this will probably be the last lap for van Overbeek.
Credit Continental Tyres again for giving these guys some rubber that they can race on and qualify on and just get quicker through the 15 minutes.
If we could beat it back to get one more lap in, it might be close.
It will be very close, Jeremy, yeah, you're right. Because he did 22 seconds in the first and there was still well over a minute and 10 left, so that should get him back around for Van Overbeek at least. Here comes Tom Long, goes through 36.3 for the number 70 Mazda. That's 5th position. It's number 2 Ligier Honda from number 10 Corvette prototype from the Mazda engine Lola 55 in 3rd position. They're separated by 3/4 of a second, still inside a second of Paul. Osnegri Jr. in the 60, the bronze chrome Ligier Honda, and Tom Long in the second, the dark red Soul Red number 70. They are still within a second of Paul. Christian Fittipaldi's only 1.060 of a second away from Paul in the 5 Action Express, the white car. Across the line they come again. Van Overbeek so close to the wall. He was absolutely nailed down on there and comes through to a 35.272. But he's been held up on his last lap by Eric Curran.
No, it's Jim Pace.
Jim Pierce is in, excuse me. Sorry,
so.
Eric.
Ricky Taylor pulls it into the pits.
And he had time for another lap.
Yeah, maybe they just didn't have enough fuel in that car. It was a slower middle sector. Tristan Nunez goes second, and then 35.5. Checkered flag, I think.
No, he's got through.
Has he?
He's got through. Eric Curran, the first guy to see the checkered flag. Taylor in the pit lane will do no better. Right. Oz Negri will do no better than third.
That's a surprise. That's a surprise.
It is.
He did improve on that final lap, Ozzy Negri, but a 35.5. He'll have been hoping for more from that number 60 car.
Tristan Nunez could steal this away. Van Overbeek is not going to improve because he's been held up in the first sector by a good second. So this now is down to Oz Negri and one more lap. He comes in, Tristan Nunez, and one more lap. He's in the first sector at the moment. His problem's going to be if anyone's touring ahead of him. The 55 car is bright enough, surely, that people should be able to see him coming. He's in turn 5 at the moment. He's got Oz Negri and Eric Curran ahead of him. He's still pushing hard. He's on his personal best lap. He's got traffic at turn 8. He might not catch them if they keep their pace up. The problem will be they'll want to turn into the pit lane, which is where he'll want to be, coming through turn 11. Coming through to 9. Turns it in, gets the turbo boost on the little 4-cylinder engine. It's Christian Fittipaldi who is dawdling at the moment and needs to know the 55's on a fast lap and stay out of the way. He might just do it. Oh, I think he might not have held him up too much.
Was fine. I don't think he was
he's
held
all right, yep. So here he comes. Is it going to be enough? Tristan Nunez for Mazda across the line. 35.374 just doesn't make it. A 10th and a half away, and there will be a cheer down at the number 2 pit. Jim Roller.
Johannes van Overbeek gets out of the car. Big hug from the crew. His co-drivers, Peppo Durrani and Scott Sharp. You said it earlier, John, one of the most underrated drivers in America. This kid can pedal, and I tell you what, he's not a kid anymore, but geez, he is a fantastic driver. Second pole for this young man. First was at Laguna a year ago when they won. Now remember, these guys won Daytona, they won Sebring, and now they've got the pole for the Glen 6 hours. That is one heck of an accomplishment. He's gone right to the back of the pit box here. We'll see if we can work our way back there, getting slaps on the back from the crew and that sort of stuff.
It's not going to stop you, Jim, is it? Straight over that pit wall. Like a man half your age, mate.
Yeah, and 25 pounds lighter than I was at the beginning of the season. Johannes, congratulations. Daytona, box check. Sebring, box check. Watkins Glen, first box, the pole, check.
Yeah, I'm still in a little bit of awe. The ESM Patrón car worked just beautifully. Probably one of the best race cars I've ever driven. And on this resurfaced Watkins Glen track, it was just magic. Just sad Ed Brown couldn't be here. We wouldn't be here without him. But hats off to the guys. Car was great from the get-go, and it just got better.
What about tomorrow? You're going to have a brace of Corvettes chasing you. You've got another Honda chasing you. Is this going to be a flat-out sprint?
Yeah, you know, it's even though it's 6 hours relative to the 24 and 12, there's just, because it's shorter, it's still 6 hours, still a long ways, but I think people take more chances earlier. But, you know, as we've seen before, you can't win it early, but you sure can lose it early. So, you know, we just need to stay in the hunt till the last stint and let Pipo do his magic.
You were so smooth out there. The car looked like it wasn't even trying. Is it that well set up? Are you that happy with it?
Again, it's one of the best race cars I've driven. To be honest, I was scaring myself a little bit, but the car kept hanging on. And, you know, I knew the car could get a pole, and I didn't want to let the guys down.
Happy 4th of July, folks. An American on the pole, Johannes van Overbeek. Congratulations, my friend. Good job.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from Johannes van Overbeek. As you said, Jeremy, the quiet man of that team, and sometimes the forgotten man. But you need all three drivers to produce all of the time nowadays in endurance racing. And remember, this is an all-pro setup here in the IMSA series. This is not a Pro-Am series. Everyone has to pull their weight all of the time. And I'm pleased that the team had the confidence to give the car over to Johannes, and I have no doubt he'll be delighted with that. That was good. That was very good.
Yeah, you could